Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video, and it is time to talk about Aid Agent Bunny. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit of an Aid hater in the past, not because I didn't like her character, but I'm just like not into the maid thing, and it was just kind of like whatever. Although recently I have been using her in my lobby, because I've been kind of into the whole like Victorian Gothic horror kind of vibe, and so I went with that theme in Nikke because I've recently been playing Silver and Blood. I am making videos for that now. It's a great game. You should check it out. In fact, I'll link down below a video to get you off to a good start in Silver and Blood. So I just wanted to throw in that little recommendation there. And it happened to be how it is, okay? I honestly, that wasn't even planned, but I was just recently playing with Aid for that reason. And now she's getting a new bunny. And this bunny version looks amazing. This might be one of the best looking bunny outfits yet. I'm going to say top 3 for sure. Aid is pretty peak. All right, but let's take a look at her skills. So she is a burst to support with a sniper rifle, code iron. So the same as Milk that we talked about in the last video. Link in the description to that as well if you missed that. So they're both iron type. They're both sniper rifles. Milk is the attacker though. Aid is a burst to support. So ammo capacity of 6, reload time of 2 seconds, and charge time of 1 second. Again, all kind of like standard stuff there. Let's take a look at her skills. They are good. So skill 1 is Agent's Gaze. Activates when landing full charge attacks on targets within the effective range, affects all allies. Attack goes up 15% of caster's attack for 5 seconds. And activates when attacking full charge, affects self, spy lens. Minimum effect range goes up 4.4%, stacks up to 10 seconds, and lasts for 5 seconds. Okay, so kind of some interesting things going on here and some stuff that we haven't really ever seen before. So let's break it down here. So activates when landing full charge attacks on targets within the effective range. Okay, so what is effective range? Okay, I think a lot of people who might be newer to the game might think that this is like an AoE kind of thing, like the effect range of like whatever the shot is hitting. This is actually referring to how far away the enemy is from you. So this is kind of baked into the basics of how Nikke's combat and damage formula works, but I think it's easily missed. So you'll see on every stage it's going to show an effective range, and you can look at it if you're like doing a co-op or a boss battle or anything too. It'll show that, and there's near, mid, and far, and depending on how close the enemy is, you're going to deal a slight bonus damage. Now, rocket launchers aren't affected by effect range, but shotguns and SMGs are good when the enemy is near. ARs and MGs are going to be good when they're like in the mid range, and then sniper rifles are good when they are far away. Now, some bosses are going to be at a fixed range and they never move. Others kind of move around, and so your damage sort of varies throughout the fight. So this is saying that that effect range increases. Now, there are 2 ways to interpret this. One of them I think doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it is in theory possible. So it says minimum effect range up 4.4%, stacks 10 times. So maybe that could mean that the effect range gets even longer, but that doesn't really make any sense because, you know, if it's already effective at far, what is this really doing, right? So what this is actually meaning, and it should be pretty clear actually since this is minimum effect range, is that range gets bigger. So it's going to still be effective at far range, but it's also going to be more and more effective in like that mid range, the more stacks of this that you get. And it goes up 4.4%, can stack up to 10 times and lasts for 5 seconds. So considering that one full charge takes 1 second, you could get 5 stacks like pretty easily. And then it kind of just depends on how fast you can charge with charge buffs or like, you know, the adjutant cube or whatever to potentially get more fast charges or more stacks of this as you go. So I know that took a while to explain that, but I just wanted to make that clear on what this skill really does. This could be really, really good, honestly. Now, it is only affecting herself, but it is important because this is going to trigger other things. So in skill 2, Agent's Movement. Activates when landing full charge attacks on target within effective range, affects all allies. Okay, so full charge attacks, but they have to be in that effective range. So that's why we want a big effective range if the enemy isn't just always at far. There aren't a lot of enemies that are like that. One that comes to mind is Stormbringer, but most enemies are not just like constantly far away like that. They'll move around more or like be mid or close. So when they are in effective range and you hit them with full charge, pierce damage goes up 18% for 5 seconds for all allies. So obviously this is going to pair well with our new Bunny Milk as well. But another one that really comes to mind here is Red Hood, who is also a pierce sniper rifle. You can also think of Alice. Really, really good support here for either one of them, I think. And then activates only if Spy Lens is fully stacked. And then it says affects self, gains pierce continuously, and attack up 16%. Okay, so also getting a bit of a self buff here. I think the other one is much more important, but she's going to deal some extra damage on her own if that Spy Lens is fully stacked. So now let's take a look at her burst skill, which importantly is a 20-second cooldown. Remember, that's what we want. We've had kind of a run of longer ones and sort of some like weird comps that we've had to make, but here we can just use it as our only burst too. She's got a 20-second cooldown. That's perfect. Effect self, minimum effect range goes up 55% for 10 seconds. So this is going to make her way more effective no matter where the enemy is. This is a huge effect range buff as opposed to the smaller one she gets from her skill 1. And then affects all allies. Attack damage goes up 55% for 10 seconds, and pierce damage goes up 10% for 10 seconds. So attack damage is literally the best buff you can get in the game. That means that like after all those calculations are done, whatever damage you're doing, you're increasing that by 55%. So that is pretty insane. That's going to be super, super powerful. I think that this looks really, really, really good. I would say the only thing that's like kind of meh is like that second part of her skill 2, because she's only affecting herself to gain pierce and like attack up a little bit, and it only works if that buff from her skill 1 is fully stacked, which might be a little tricky to do depending on how quickly you can get your shots off with her. So that's like kind of mid, but again, she is a support. She's really there to, you know, support your other main damage dealers. And I think her burst and just basically the burst, giving the attack damage and the pierce damage up, is going to be really, really, really good. Not to mention increasing the effect range in the skill 1 anytime she lands a full charge is going to affect all allies with the attack up. So you don't even need to really worry about the other stuff. Just giving everybody a 15% attack up for 5 seconds is just really good. So they're just going to almost continuously have that buff all the time. So yeah, I think Aid looks really good. Aid probably has a really high potential. I mean, in general, I think that supports always have a longer life and more potential than your damage dealers, right? Because basically they can support anyone. So the next time a really busted DPS comes out, their like buffs are still good and going to make that DPS even better. Whereas like the DPS, they can get power crept by the better DPS, and then like, it's not as relevant. Anyway, I'm sure most of you guys know that, but I just wanted to point that out. Aid looks great. I'm going to be pulling for her. I think everyone's going to be pulling for Aid for aesthetic reasons. But it's pretty cool to see that she's actually really good as well. After a little bit of a disappointing event that I think maybe, unfortunately, too many people might have put too many resources in with Absolute. It's great to see that we are getting some very good units here with the Bunny event. Good luck to all the new players with all the rerun banners as well. Keep in mind, we are getting a bunch of off-season rerun banners for like winter and summer right now. I will say, waifu over meta, guys. Pick whatever units you want. That said, these two new bunnies look like they're going to be far more worth it than the reruns, okay? Most of those rerun units are not very good. Miss Firepower is notoriously disappointing, so probably ignore Neon from a meta perspective. Summer Mary was really good when she came out, but is not really relevant anymore. And also Winter Rupee was kind of bad. So just don't, be careful with your resources, all I'm saying. These bunnies are looking hot in more ways than one. A sub would be appreciated. I am an official Nikke content creator. Don't forget to check out those videos down below for Silver and Blood, as well as Milk if you didn't see it before. And I'll catch you guys in the next video and on stream later today.